Okay, so I know you said in class that people have filmed this in their car, so I figured instead of walking inside and distracting myself and doing other things, that I would just film this and get it over with and go over my answers from my two people I interviewed. So I actually have here um, my interview questions. I asked both of my people the same questions, and I broke down their feedback and their answers. And for the first interviewee, is Caitlin Edwards. Caitlin is a part of Topgolf Tampa, which I'm not sure if you ever heard of Topgolf, but it's a little spin on a, whoa, laptop down. It's a little spin of a driving range, golf driving range, where guests can come in and experience golfing, and there's also food and drinks, shuffleboard, pool tables. There's 3 floors. It's a really cool experience for friends and family to come in, and for birthdays, bachelor parties, or just to come out on a, Monday through Sunday morning or night and just have a good time. For experienced golfers or not, you could have never swung a club before and come to Topgolf and, really have a good time with your family and friends. And for Caitlin's role in the workplace of Topgolf, Caitlin is a sales admin. And it's really funny. Caitlin is actually 2 years younger than me, and she's probably like, she's so smart among her years, and she's super positive, and she's such an awesome person. I'm really happy I got to interview her. And like I said, I asked both my people I interviewed the same 5 questions, and those 5 questions are, number one, in what specific ways do you motivate your team? Number two, how would you describe your leadership style in the workplace? Number three, how do you handle stress and pressure in your workplace? Number four, are you more comfortable with verbal or written communication, and why? And for number five, I put, when you come across any bad news, how do you pick yourself back up? So for Caitlin's answers, for number one, like I said, I did a breakdown for each of the questions and answers, and also my feedback with the leadership aspects of these questions and answers. And for the number one with the motivation, Caitlin really emphasized finding the positive outlook in every situation, staying optimistic, and for the sales aspect is acting like that's the only client to clients. Mind you, you're speaking to more than one, but as she says, and I thought this was pretty cool, is acting like you're only going to speak to one, acting like that one phone call, which it is more than one, like I mentioned, but acting in your mindset like, hey, this is the only client I'm going to speak to today, so let me use, lots of emotion, enthusiasm, and things like that. And I really like that from a leadership style point, because then, being positive and optimistic with every phone call you have, it will really show with the people around her in her office that, hey, like, my tone of my voice and staying optimistic and, leading by example will really rub off on the other people that are surrounded by her. So I thought that was pretty cool. And she also speaks for that question number one, how law of attraction is legit. And I believe that's like super true. Coming from me, who, when I played softball, being a leader, people are going to watch you and the things you do. And, I remember when I first started playing softball, and if I struck out or if I did something bad, I would come in the dugout, I would throw my helmet, I'd throw my glove, I would get super upset, and my teammates would see that, the law of everything around me, and, they would get down and they would get upset and things like that. And, you know, it really will rub off on your teammates. And, just once I got older, I really realized that you really have to lead by example, and people are going to watch the things you do. So for her number two, she for the question, it was the how would you describe your leadership style in the workplace? Um, and to break down Caitlin's answers, she mentions again about positive reinforcement and how it's a really a big deal in the workplace. Taking pride in tasks assigned, and also like I mentioned before, she's in the event side of sales at Topgolf, so she put contests for event ambassadors with clear guidelines, and she really emphasized here that um, that associates can lead and delegate tasks in a manner that fits them best, which I really like that from a leadership standpoint, because sometimes people will try to lead and take control, and instead of delegating people, they'll try to micromanage. And when you try to micromanage people, some people can take that the wrong way. Like, those people don't think they know how to do their job. But if you just learn your associates and learn what they can do and delegate them and lead them the right direction, I really think that, you know, is a lot better than pointing fingers and, calling your own shots. So for question 3 was that how do you handle stress and pressure in your workplace? And I really like this answer by Caitlin because for her breakdown, she talked a lot about having a step-by-step breakdown of your goals, like of your whole day, no matter like what the task is, and having a planner, which is a solid idea, which I have one as well, and just writing things down and breaking up tasks, no matter how big or small, to really, make sure you're set for the day, for the week, and for the month. Like as she mentions the pressure of hitting monthly, quarterly, and annual budgets, which is, a very big deal for the sales team. So I thought that was a really, really smart idea because I've definitely learned from taking 5 classes this semester that breaking things up and working piece by piece rather than trying to do one big thing at once has definitely, definitely helped me. And for her number 4, are you more comfortable verbal or written communication and why? And she says, I am more comfortable with verbal communication because it allows me to have the chance to have a discussion with a person about the information, and you can really grasp the tone of when you're talking to someone, is another thing Caitlin mentioned, which I agree 100% because it's almost like when you read a text message or email from someone, sometimes you're not going to get the full communication of what they're saying and how they're saying it because people can take it right or wrong. And then number 5 was when you come across any bad news, how do you pick yourself back up? And once again, Caitlin talks about being positive, and, saying how she hears the word no all the time in her workplace and that it's going to happen. No matter what field you're in, you're going to hear no. But if you just, stay positive, stay calm, and just take time to process hearing that no and finding maybe the yes. And, as a leader, you're going to get pushed down, but it's how, like, hard you get back up, to the situation. All right. So, for Susan's answers, which Susan is actually a part of Topgolf Tampa as well, and Susan is an events manager. So, to break down, Caitlin books the events for the parties, the bachelor parties, the birthday parties, the corporate events, the fundraisers, whatever it may be, and then Susan puts it into action. Susan is the one who delegates who works what events for us event ambassadors, and she's the one that, puts people where their strengths are and helps them with their weaknesses. And Susan she's always on the go, she's always on the tee line. If you need Susan, she's got your back, like 110%. And like I said, I asked, the same 5 questions for Susan as I did for Caitlin. And for her, what specific ways, number 1, that you motivate her team, she also talks as well as being positive to motivate her team and giving them things such as meal coupons, which $10 worth of free food. I mean, I'll work for food. And another thing too is she talks about recognizing hard work, which I feel like as a leader, even if it's just a little pat on the back and letting people know, reinforce on it, hey man, you're doing a good job, or hey, keep killing it. It's just the little things to really, keep your team going and keep them in that positive mindset to keep going in the right direction rather than beating them down and, oh, you're doing this wrong, that wrong. Hey, I mean, people do things wrong, but instead of, having that harsh tone, picking them back up and just really showing them that, hey, like, you're doing a great job. You might need help with this, help with that. It's just, it's what you say and how you say it to people. And I thought that was really cool. And for her number 2, how would you describe your style of leadership in the workplace? And Susan talks a lot about same almost mindset as Caitlin and me as well, is delegating, which I think is, even before I interviewed both of them, I've always believed in delegating. I used to be someone that believed in micromanaging because I didn't really understand the difference. But you're going to be in a workplace where you're going to know people's strengths and weaknesses once you get to know them and who they are as a person. And delegating is just, it's way better than trying to micromanage someone because, like I said about Caitlin's answers, people can take it in the wrong manner and just, you know, it's better to try and help the situation than trying to lead almost too hard, if that makes sense. And then for Caitlin's number 3, the how do you handle stress and pressure in the workplace? Um, and this is so true. Like, even before she answered this question, I would know this. Just, I've seen Susan work and how she works. And she put, I work quickly and efficiently under pressure, which she does. As an event manager, during event season, you are running around third floor to first floor. You're being called for this, called for that. And you have to have that quick mentality. And as almost as Caitlin says to the planner, Susan has a to-do list to stay organized. So to keep things together, I actually see her, she has this little blue workbook that she literally holds next to her whole shift, and she never puts it down. So she knows everything that's going on. And as a leader, I really got from this answer and question that you have to have a tight mindset sometimes to keep things together if you're in an environment where it's very busy and you're getting call about this or call about that, and you have to remember, okay, it's going to keep going fast, we can't slow down. So I really agreed with Susan's answer on that one. And then for number 4, the are you more comfortable with verbal or written and why? And Susan put, as well as Caitlin, I prefer verbal communication. And she pretty much said almost the same feedback as Caitlin did on how the tone of how when you write things down versus speaking word of mouth, you never know what people are going to react or how they're going to react if you were to read it written. And then another thing that Susan talked about too, which I thought was really good, is that sometimes it's not even just verbal words, but facial expressions and gestures. And yeah, it's not verbal communication, but it's not written communication, and it is verbal in a sense of just, no sound from the mouth. But, you could be down the T line, and she could be on one end, you could be on the other, and she makes a face like, like come down here, but without, speaking it. And, you want to be able to get that with written communication being that far apart. So I thought that was a really, good emphasis how tone and expressions and gestures are, just as important. And then for number 5, when you come across any bad news, how do you pick yourself back up? And I really like this one from Susan. She wrote, I like to focus on happy memories and great success I've had, and just remind myself that I hit barriers along the way, but that is normal. Keeping a positive attitude is key to overcoming any obstacle I face. And, I really like that answer because, life doesn't stop for things that go on. And if you want to be a leader, sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. But if you fake it till you make it, you really do change your mindset, and the things that are around you and the people you surround yourself with, really make a difference. And, leading by example, you might be hurt in the inside, but trying to stay positive, your other people in your workplace, in your life, they're going to see that. And, if you need help being picked back up, they're going to pick you up. That's what you do as a leader and what you can do as a person. You never know what people are going through. So, yeah. But super side note, and I actually didn't know this until after I did this, but Caitlin and Susan are actually like best friends. They've known each other through middle school. I even mentioned it in my brief biography about them, but I'm very happy that I get to be in the same field as these ladies, as I'm going to school for marketing and now getting my minor in leadership and civic engagement. But it was really cool to interview these two because they both have the same kind of mindset in the way they lead things in the workplace and their positivity and delegating and things like that. So this is really cool to talk to these ladies, and I hope you enjoy, Mr. Mike.